Hello everyone and welcome to Talk Together. Thank you for joining us for an evening of talking about Dungeons and or Dragons. My name is Tom. I am the self-appointed Question Lord. They haven't given me an official badge yet, but I might get the Timekeeper badge, which is the thing I've been... You know, when you don't want something, but then you're like, here's a possibility. It's like, I've wanted that more than anything in the world by just getting this under an hour. So yes, I'll be hosting and going off those little tangents. And my guest here is the delightful Krissy, waving.
Hi.
Hi. So yes, going through a few questions, some adventurous anecdotes. How exactly is this decided? Well, the dice, the math rocks, they shall control our fates. Yes, so before we kick off, this is going to last an hour because I will get that badge. And we are supported by Hero Forge, Ultra Pro, and Elderwood Academy. And we are also supported by D&D Beyond, Warriors of Waterdeep, and Phoenix Dice. We are Roll Together RPG on all social media, and there is a massive thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon, who have set up a Discord and a wiki. Also, we have merch if you want cool t-shirts. I will get Krissy. Krissy's got her own t-shirt, which we will get to. Not Roll Together one, but we.
Oh yeah.
It's a good feeling, isn't it? You're like, it's me.
Yeah. I cried a little.
And rightly so. And finally, our shows are available as podcasts. If you just search Roll Together RPG on your favorite podcasting app. If we're not there, let us know. Also, if you give us a review, let us know, because sometimes we look at it months later and we're like, oh, that was nice 8 months ago, but we still love it. And so with that little preamble out of the way, did I start the timer? I started the timer. Amazing. I will get that badge. Krissy, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are you? I'm
good. Glad to hear it. Again, with our time zones looking, we're like, you can see the sunlight. It's a lovely warm day for both of us, and we're staying inside and we're talking about dice.
To be fair, it's not very warm out here just yet. It's still morning times for us, so it's supposed to get to 70 today. It was real cold yesterday, so I'm real stoked.
Gods. So that's the thing, when we're done here, you're like, finally, it's warm. I can
play fetch with Mowgli.
Yeah. Well, now, like all great British people, we've discussed the weather. Let's get to the reason we're here. Let's, well, you know what to say, chat. Let's
roll that dice.
Thank you. I love it when Okay, that is a 16. Number 16. If you could make yourself in D&D, what would you be?
So my friends and I have had this discussion a few times, and it's always a very heated debate because all of my IRL friends swear up and down that I would be a barbarian, but I am neither particularly strong or dexterous. So I think I got the rage down. I can rage with the best of them. I kind of think I'd be a druid, though. I've always been better with animals and plants than people. So
I'm going to say, as we see a plant slowly but surely entering the top of the screen.
They're all over my apartment. So yeah.
Why do they think you're going to be a barbarian?
Because part of my humor I like to rant in humorous ways, and I don't really get angry per se, like actually angry, but ranting for the sake of just making people laugh is kind of my thing. And so they think I'm good at raging. And one of them that very firmly is in the barbarian camp is someone that's known me since I was 14 years old. So they saw me through all my teenage angst, and I was extra ragey back then. I was in marching band with him. Of course he saw me at the ragey moment.
What did you play in marching band?
So I started on clarinet, but I have skinny fingers, and so I had a hard time covering the clarinet holes as a kid because they're actually pretty big for a little 13, 14-year-old. So my band director was like, Krissy, I think you're a good musician. I don't think that you're living up to your potential with clarinet because you can't cover the holes quickly enough. You should try saxophone. So I moved over to alto sax and did improve markedly. Like kind of, I think they handed me the most improved award the next year. So it was nice.
Which is still there, like in your CV, is like much improved for learning how to play the saxophone. Mm-hmm. I was kind of hoping it was going to be something like the tuba, but just
can you imagine?
Huge boom boom. Yeah, why do we have a sousaphone? Just like
yeah, we did have a small person that played the tuba it was taller than they were. It was real adorable to see.
Sweet.
I miss band memories.
Oh. I mean, to go back, I suppose Barbarian is you get it from a strong emotion, so it doesn't necessarily need to be rage.
That is very fair. Yeah. I think I would, if I go with their route, would be like a barb druid multi-class maybe. Yeah. Or so my friend Branch, he made a Circle of Wrath druid. Oh. And so like I thought about that, like, you know, angry nature, volcano, tornadoes, stuff like that would be appropriate, powerful. Yeah.
Like, have you seen, I think it was like Funny or Die did a sketch with Don Cheadle playing Captain Planet, where he just is like, and now I'm just going to turn everyone into trees. And then they're like, please stop. And he's like, well, maybe you should respect the planet. Eh? Stop burning things.
That would be appropriate. Yeah.
I like talking about the idea of having like a whiteboard, but you just sort of like go back and you're like circle after it. That would be a sort of almost like Poison Ivy style sort of nature. So like, yeah, you're not recycling.
Lava.
Okay, so let's say your barbood. Let's just smash the words together. What sort about like species, race? What would you like to be?
I very firmly believe I would be a tiefling.
I can't argue. Yeah,
I think I'm right in that troublemaker, interesting purple colored camp, and have like, I think I would have like straight horns as opposed to the ram horns, or like gazelle. Yeah.
I mean, I think Scarlett said she also wants to be a tiefling, and I think I also said I think we're just gonna make a little family of tieflings where we just hang out.
I mean, they're really honestly just my favorite. I mean, canonically, they're not supposed to be purple, right? Well, it says shades of red. To me, purple can be considered a shade of red. If you squint hard enough.
You're just like pushing it. You're like, isn't that blue? You're like, well, isn't blue a form of red? They're like, no. You're like, isn't it though?
Are you sure?
Are you sure? I saw sort of like when people were making lists of like terrible things people said on the internet, but when they were like, what's your favorite color? And he's like, I like all color, because all colors are, you know, within the spectrum, and, you know, just really sort of condescending. It's like, well, actually color doesn't exist. And you're just like, and then someone's like, I like green. And you're like, yeah, fair. But yes, a nice sort of purpley tiefling. Just like, I swear to God, if you do not separate and put these in the separate bins, lava for days.
Lava.
That's actually really like nice. And they're like, oh, so you're going to make like trees grow? And like, no, I will make lava. Which is good for plants, you know.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, I'm a hero. You're welcome. Let's just hope in the next few days there's not a volcano. Well, there's always a volcano somewhere, but, you know.
Somewhere. I think Tennessee is like on some earthquake fault lines, so I could go that route if I got angry. You know, just slam my fists into the earth hard enough and cause the whole state to freak out.
It's a good day. Chattanooga's just gone now.
Bye.
Bye.
Actually, no, I wouldn't want to mess with the aquarium. I think if I were gonna aim for, I'd probably just hit my hometown. There's nothing here. There's some cows. They'll be all right.
They're underground cows now. They live in our version of the Underdark. They just fall down.
Drow cows.
Oh, sweet. Again, all this weird like bug creatures, and then there's just some cows going, ooh. You're like, oh, hey. How did you get here? Or I think we were looking at something else where those sort of like those very fluffy Highland cows. It's just some of those, just like fluffy boys just covered in fluff, and you're like, come on.
I grew up on a cattle farm, and that was not the kind of cows we had. And I was so jealous anytime I saw someone that might have one or two, because they're not very common around here. This is a meat and dairy cattle kind of place, so. They're so cute and they're so fluffy, and I want to give them all the scritches. They look like puppies.
And now they're living underground. Just that sort of utterly bizarre thing. Like, I've been down here for 4 days, and then you see the cow, and you're like, that's the thing that broke me. The underground cow. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, amazing. So we've established purple tiefling, barbarian, druid, volcanoes. Chaos. Chaos, but productive chaos.
Quite productive.
Again, I'm very productive, but no one ever thanks me. And they try and send me thank you cards, and I'm like, what a waste of paper. Yeah. How could you do that to a tree? How dare? You just feel the ground rumbling. You're like, I'm not saying it was a mistake, but we shouldn't have done that. Great. Well, now we just, as I said, it's just tangents upon tangents. It's amazing. Okay, so I think now's the time. Let us roll that dice. Oh, we're doing voices now.
That's a very Tim Curry sounding voice there. I love it.
That has been the comment that people were like, that's they're like, can you just go space? And I was like, yes, I can actually.
Sing some Toxic Love.
Toxic Love. Or Long John Silver and Muppets Treasure Island.
I've never seen that.
Krissy?
I am not a Muppets person.
Krissy, you're going to have a wonderful time. It's very, Tim Curry is very charming, and then at one point the song plays and they pick him up on a chair and he's like, sing up, boys, this is my only song. And you're like, you're right, this is the only song you've got about being a pirate. It's again, just this very, I was about to say weird, but like really sincere relationship between him and Jim Hawkins. And you're like, I wish Tim Curry would, because he's a bad guy, but he just seems really sad. He's like, why don't you want to be a pirate? It's great, and you could be my friend. Why don't you want to
sail the high seas with me?
Pretty much. So what? Hold on, this is why I throw the dice away. What do you mean you're not a Muppet person?
The only thing with puppets that I'm a particularly huge fan of is Avenue Q.
Oh, so you like the parody, but the actual thing, you're just like, I don't want to watch Sesame Street.
Nope. I want to hear The Internet is for Porn on repeat.
Quelle surprise. Just
no one watching this will be surprised.
No.
Not a single person.
You're like, I have very simple demands. And I
have one brand.
How dare you call it Smut? It is high quality erotica. So, like, hey audience. So, like, one of the first times I met Krissy, we were doing a stream, and she was like, oh, look, I found this. I found these mouse pads. And they're of bottoms, friends. They're of fictional characters and with big butts. Oh, no. Oh, no. Will we be demonetized? No, we can show whatever. Yeah. So that was oh, crumbs. Oh, well, that's fine. That's Zagreus's pecs. That's...
I ordered it's literally a Hades Smut bundle that they put out, and that was part of the bundle. Oh, I have one brand.
Just again, Smut. I kind of, again, this is the problem with me. You open the door and I'm like, no, I want to talk more about the Smut bundle. Who else is in it?
It has a book that I absolutely cannot show on screen, but it also came with like some harmless,
Aww.
G-rated, just cute. Hades themed stuff. I genuinely love the game. I love the soundtrack. Yeah. So.
And then that's the great thing about being on TikTok, that because of people like you, my friends, getting all these cosplay things, and I was like, oh, someone's playing Juicer. Very cute. Follow. Oh, good. Poor Juicer. Again, this is where we're just going to talk about Hades for a bit. Have you actually beaten it yet? Or
no. I think I got to the Asphodel Meadows, maybe.
Oh yeah.
And then I get distracted by something else. So
yeah, I've ended up buying it twice because I got it for like PC, and then I was like, and then I got a PlayStation. I was like, right, I could probably do okay if this was on a controller rather than just on the mouse going, come on, dash.
Yeah. I don't understand people that do better with like mouse and keyboard than controller. I can't. My coordination is not that good in anything I do.
So I think about like 10 years ago, I rolled a dice, and now I'm going to look down. And
it feels like a lifetime.
It's a number 2. It is, what spell or ability would you have in real life? Usually we take wish off the table, but that's the limitation. No wish.
Would I actually have, or would I like to have?
Ooh, interesting. I'm like, interesting. Answer both. 2 questions. And also, maybe I'll be nice. Maybe I'll give you a spell. Maybe I'll give you a cantrip. Just sort of double deal.
I think I would like to have Vicious Mockery. I wish I were clever enough to have insults that literally do psychic damage to people. I am not that clever. I am not that witty. I am not. Yeah. So I would like to have Vicious Mockery. I think I actually kind of do have Charm Person on a good day. Yeah. For better or for worse.
But I suppose if you've got that as a innate talent, like with Charm Person where it wears off, you're like, wait a moment, I know what you're doing. And just in real life, you're like, hey, I'm very likable. Come on.
Look at this face. How can you be mad? Yeah. How can you be mad? My Graviturgy Wizard Folly, that's kind of how I play her. So I like designed her after Blanche Devereaux. So like she kind of flirts to get whatever she wants, and then she does it sometimes with Charm Person if she thinks she needs to. And then if somebody realizes, she's like, what? Are you saying you like wouldn't be charmed anyway? Like, I don't look at me.
You're an incredibly rude young man.
How dare?
How very dare you, sir? Fluffs the hair and like, I'm still not letting you in to see the king. Like, oh.
Fine. But yeah, I think...
Sorry, just a little lip bite you did there. Like, right. More for you.
More for me. Yeah, I think that's what I would probably have, like, realistically.
But again, like, the insane thing about, like, if real Vicious Mockery is like, yeah, I got a little bit, like, saucy with someone, and then they just died. They were a commoner. I put in a your mama joke, and they just dropped down dead. I can't control it.
I literally just said that your mom's disappointed in you and now they're unconscious. Like, what? What happened?
Yeah, Mr. Rogers would be disappointed in you and then they're just down on the floor. You're like, oh gosh. Oh my.
And hearing that would be like a D10 of damage at least.
Yes. Just to drop that into conversation. You're just like...
I can handle my mother being disappointed in me, but Mr. Rogers, no.
I think actually Miss Rogers would be like, I don't think you're being the best version of yourself at the moment. And I think, I still love you and I still think you're trying very hard. But I think,
There's some growth possible here.
For those of you who, it's such a weird sort of like thing because I talk to a lot of Americans, so like via osmosis have picked this up and like seen the documentary. But like in the UK, we're like, we have absolutely no idea who that is. We kind of know who Bob Ross is, but yeah, it didn't cross over. Yeah.
That seems tragic.
Yeah, how do we know how to be kind and understanding? We don't, and that's part of our problem.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of Americans did not learn that lesson either. No. So, you know, he can only do so much.
There, in my parents' hometown, there's a page of graffiti that just says R.I.P. Bob Ross. And I was like, he died many years ago. Why is this here? You know, and it's new, but it's almost like someone's discovered that he died and was like, well, we need to memorialize him in this small Dorset town. I
mean, they recently he's still pretty popular. They recently created an NFT of him or something, and then like they still do Bob Ross stuff on Twitch, or at least they did for a while. Like they ran a thing where they showed his paintings. I don't know if that's still a thing. I don't keep up with much.
I have such a busy schedule. Again, you're back into the sort of the folly. Like, I have such a busy schedule. You can't expect me to pick up on everything.
I can barely remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. You cannot expect me to remember what they're showing on Twitch on a regular basis these days. Maybe I'll just do the rest of the interview in this voice. I think it's absolutely delightful to do.
Just very softly, and then you're just like, molasses. And I was like, yes, molasses.
Molasses.
That was a tweet I liked a few years ago, which was like, because we keep having really terrible heat waves in this country. It was like, it is so hot here that a Tennessee Williams play may break out at any moment. I do declare.
I do declare. Get me a fan, please. Get me a fan.
The nice young man is coming around for tea, so we must be on our best behavior.
My gentleman caller is on his way.
It's just constantly referring to your gentleman caller.
He's a delightful suitor. He only wants a single cow for me.
Again, just like, I brought you one of the fluffy cows. Oh, my friend, he is going to be too warm, and you know that. He is going to shed all over the floor, and I am not going to shave him.
No, that is your responsibility. I refuse to either shave or milk. These hands do not do physical labor.
Again, your gentleman suitor is not allowed into the house, but can take care of the cow, which is out in the barn.
Mm-hmm. He can sleep with it too. It's fine.
Yeah, that actually would probably happen in certain like Tennessee Williams plays, where it's like, oh, I believe you met my gentleman suitor. He lives outside. He's ever so enchanted by me. Some would say because of a charming person, but
those are just rumors. I would never. I wouldn't want to tarnish my reputation that way.
Well, again, I said add that to the board of NPCs. Man who lives in barn takes care of cow. is a big deal in the city. My gentleman caller is very important in the city. You must understand, he is a busy man.
Very busy man.
There is something coming up where we are going to be playing siblings, and I'm thinking we might just have to do that voice.
I'm down for it.
We're just going to have to be from the South.
It's about the only voice outside of my own that I can do, so I'm absolutely down for that.
Let's do it. And again, like foreshadowing something completely different. We're just like planning. Amazing.
Someone recently reached out to me and was like, hey, will you record, like they wanted me to do some voiceover work for one of their D&D games to use as part of their props. And I'm like, have you heard me speak? Are you familiar with the sound of my voice? Because I was like, what sort of voice are you looking for? He goes, your natural speaking voice is fine. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure about that? Doesn't seem right. But he was happy with it, so hey.
They liked it. That is always that thing when someone's like, oh, because of this, you're like, doesn't sound right. But again, you're being very charming, so okay.
To each their own. I don't like the sound of my own voice, but who does?
I'm like, I'm great. This is why I do so much streaming.
I mean, your voice is pretty fantastic. So.
Thank you very much. I agree with myself. And on that note, let's roll that dice. Oh, ooh, very exciting, and I feel this might keep us going for a while. Number 11. Who is your favourite character? Now, is this a character you played, or just a character in general? It's a very open question. I'm
gonna go with character I've played, because if we go with character in general, this is gonna go over an hour. Yeah. So I do a lot of character creation. I mean, you've seen that with my TikTok, so that's a really hard choice, and they all have their varying reasons for why I like them. Soleil, who I played in Chaos in the Collection, is one of my favorites, though, because she is the most chaotic, and she's also I dumped that intelligence stat so hard, so the poor girl is not smart. She does not think through her choices. She's just like, oh, this looks fun, and she goes with it, you know. And I love that. It gives me a lot of interesting decisions to be made in game, and sometimes a lot of messes that the other cast members have to help clean up.
Just they got trapped in a mirror. It's just
I didn't know if I could get spoilery about it, but yeah, she's just like, oh, magic mirror, there's a sign saying not to touch it. I do not see it. It's pretty. I want to look at myself. That was her decision making. She was trying to look at herself in some armor, and Em was like, oh, well, there is a mirror there. And I'm like, oh, you're gonna set that right in front of me? Okay. I'll play into that. So yeah, I think she's pretty high up there. Folly, the Southern wizard, is also pretty high up there. I think her aesthetic's really cool. She's a steampunk aesthetic, and so I've got like she's a wizard that doesn't use a spell book. All of her spells are actually like tattooed on her, and then we coming up with, I've told Alex we can look at ways to make it, because I know wizards can lose their spell book. If he wants something to happen to my tattoos, they can absolutely make that a thing.
I am concerned by that, where you're like, yeah, you lost your hand. You don't know how to do that spell anymore. You're like, oh dear.
We found something that someone had homebrewed that would work. I just can't remember what the mechanics of it were, because we haven't quite got to a point that we need that. But yeah.
What about if you get sunburnt? You know, like, yeah, just...
So she's a tiefling, so I mean, fire resistant. But we actually found out her grandfather, great grandpappy, is like an ice demon. So I'm trying to figure out what that's going to mean for her resistances. Alex, I asked them, and they were like, "You're still fire resistant for now. For now, we'll talk later about it." And I'm like, "Okay." So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just that idea of like, oh, I read a family tree, and I was like, you suddenly are now ice resistant. You're like, oh, knowledge has changed me. Oh.
Yeah, no, she started talking about her family making whatever deal it was that resulted in her being a tiefling, which must have happened many generations ago, because all of her family's humans. And then her great grandpappy reached out in a not so fun way and is after her soul. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, great grandpappy.
I love traumatizing my characters for a good story. Please send my characters to hell and back if it adds to the drama.
So, again, this is always like when you're talking about like what kind of characters you like to play. Is there sort of like a thing about it? Let's say like a trope of yourself. You're like, this is what I like to show in these characters, like connecting idea.
I try to put different parts of myself in every character, because playing a character that's nothing like me, that isn't like pre-written, isn't really easy for me to do. Like if it's something that already has a personality written into it, then fine. But whenever it's something I have to come up with an improv on the fly, there needs to be pieces of me. But I try to do different pieces of me in order to give them a little variety, you know? So Soleil is the chaotic side that I don't get to show off in real life because you don't have the same opportunities. Folly's the southern charm, like the southern belle that I feel like people expect whenever they hear I'm from Tennessee that I don't actually have. And then like I've like Octavia, the character that I have the shirt for, she's bitchy. Like she's actually as witty as I want to be with the vicious mockery, which means I'm gonna have to come up with insults in advance, but that's fine. But yeah, just different pieces of me that I don't actually want to be a bitch in real life. I am perfectly capable of it. That doesn't mean that it's a good thing to do. So yeah.
Again, you're like, I called someone a mean name and then they fell over. I gave them the finger and they just dropped. I'm like, oh no.
Oh no. Oh well. It's probably for the best. It's fine.
That actually would be quite interesting as a character, where you've just got someone who's like really intensely nice, and you're like, why? It's like, because of when I'm nasty, people get hurt. Or
honestly, that would be a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Or it's the sort of thing like going, oh yeah, no, that's my imaginary friend, and he just really cares about me and doesn't want me to be unhappy. So like, if I have it is that horror thing of like going, if he thinks I'm unhappy with someone.
See, with Octavia, I played her in a one shot, working on coming up with an idea for a longer campaign that's gonna hopefully come out closer to this fall. And I won't talk about it, but I will say that like one of her things is I'm gonna make her a College of Spirits bard, and I'm gonna say that her thing is that she can talk to people's ancestors or at least imitate them. Maybe I haven't decided which route I'm going to go, but either way, whenever they hear vicious mockery or dissonant whispers, they hear their own like dead loved ones insulting them in their head. So your mother is disappointed in you comes from their mother's voice, and that flavor is going to be so fun.
Is it the sort of thing that she can control that, or does she just say, I'm disappointed in you, and then being surprised when I was like, oh, it turns out it's their uncle? Oh,
I like to think that she could control it, but also she would have to know. So I'm not really sure. I haven't really worked that out with my DM. We just kind of were coming up with ideas for various powers of hers, and that was one of the things that we liked.
Magic. You're like, I suppose so. Magic. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Necromancy. Mother always said to make new friends.
Actually, technically, I'm a doctor. It's a form of healing.
It is.
Yeah. A character I've played rolled together a couple times, Amaryllis. She is a necromancer because she's a hagling, child of hags, and that she stole the wizard's book and then was like, oh, this is going to be full of things I could use. No, it's all necrotic and horrible, and because she's a young teenager who's actually very beautiful, and like when she gets older she's going to be hideous, of course, that's how hags work, and she's like, no, I don't want, and then is really upset because she keeps being gross and just wants people to like her and like hang out with the cool kids, and then just that thing of just going, no, you vomit, you throw bugs, and she's like, oh no.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
But it's also very brilliant.
Yeah. Hopefully she's not, because in the last one, she got turned into a werewolf, got a lot of anger out, and then got cured and was like, I think I've worked through some stuff.
That'll do it.
Which helps,
Very therapeutic.
I think technically she's starting not to go through puberty, but she's like, oh, I'm getting these feelings now. But, yeah, I'm sure she's fine. We ended it by she was going on a roller coaster, which is how you should end most campaigns. You're like, and then we just went to the fun fair.
We're off to Dollywood. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, Dollywood, or then if you go slightly down the road, the place where they keep all those corpses. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a great little combination of a day.
Yep.
That's... Again, just I've got friends who were like, oh yeah, no, we went to Dollywood, and then we went to go look at the park. You're like, oh, weird, yeah. Yeah. I would say Google it, people, but you don't want to look at that. You know what you want to do? You want to
roll that dice.
That is a... that's a 13. Krissy, what do dice mean to you?
Oh, I love dice. I try to have one new set for every character. Each one of my characters, I work on a little color palette for. Oh God, they're all right here.
Bring us the click clacks.
I have a lot.
Hey, audience. Let's just look at what Krissy has. You see that fox? That's pretty cool. And those pictures, they're also really nice.
That picture somebody had commissioned for me as a surprise. It's me and Mowgli.
Oh, adorable.
It was very nice. my giant bag of click clacks. I will not go through all of those, but I do want to show off. Look at all those cool pins that people have gotten me.
Oh.
I don't like to put pins on things because I'm likely to lose them, but that seemed like it'd be okay. Yeah. I just got these recently at my Dean's birthday. They aren't my first set of mini dice, but my other mini dice are metal and are a little larger. These are babies.
Little puppies.
Little babies. And then I won a commission set, and I wanted it to be for my blood hunter. So you can't really tell, but this has like red in it. Red foil and black ink, and it's just it's so perfect for a blood hunter theme. So yeah, no, I like stuff. So I like dice. I like having, little collections for each character, buying things that remind me of that character. I personally think it's good luck to use dice that suit your character. This is Folly's dice. This is the main D20 that I roll for her. So
nice. And also the nice tactile fit. Like I've just started picking up dice as we're talking to you, and just like, hey, look at that. Look how it's all shiny and sparkly. And
wait, what's in it? Is that like moss?
It looks like moss. I think it's glitter, but it's like there's green. The camera's just not going to focus, is it?
No, but it's pretty.
It is pretty. Yeah.
It looks like a very lucky dice.
It is. I without spoilers of something I recorded the other night, it served me well.
Heck yeah!
It kept me up. Let's put it that way. Thank you, dice. Yeah.
That's all that's required to get through the game. Stay up.
When I moved, and I was like, there's not this set, but like another set, and I was like, I don't know what it is, and I was like, I need to buy a new one. And then I was like, oh no, the options. That's the problem. As soon as you open it up, you're like, okay, this is like, so that set, I was like, right, I bought that when I first started out. It's dark blue and it's glittery and it's nice. And I won these at a live RPG show, but now I'm just like, oh God, what do I choose? What type of new dice do I, or do what you do and just go, which I think's nice. It's like, again, I suppose that comes from like the cosplay stuff as well. It's like, right, I've got a particular look. I know it'd be wrong to play, Folly with these kind of dice. You're like, no.
Nope, would not fit right. Oh, well, I don't know. Green's one of her colors, but no, it wouldn't look quite as right. I'll sometimes go on like Etsy or whatever and just put red and black dice, necromancy themed dice, bone dice. I've got a few different sets picked out for Octavia that are like greens and blacks and bone looking and stuff with skulls inside them. It's just so neat to me, all the inclusions that people will put in dice and all the fun things that they'll make with them, like the giant D20s that are like, big hulking things with just these. They're pieces of art, and I don't know. I think it's fantastic.
And I think, the nice thing is that there's a very sort of, let's say, set way of doing it, which can be changed, or you get the things where you're like I've got a set which is like for rogues, and you're like, this one is a knife, so you flick it, and you're like, or this one is some rope. Which is just fun. Actually, it's sad because, like for the lockpick, it's one of those ones that you spin it, so it looks like you're actually sort of picking the lock, and then the lockpick broke off, and I was like, no, the fiddly little bit of plastic's gone.
Oh no! This is my first. Wait, is this? Yeah, this is my first non-caltrop D4.
Ooh.
I really like this shape, like the
wow.
diamondy. So I was real stoked about that. It's the only like uniquely shaped dice I have. Everything else is, the standard 7-piece sets.
I just had an image of like, this was like a television show and you were like, oh, what do you do? And it just cuts to us and we're just holding up dice and you're like, I also like this one. Because, I mean, that's because like for Roll Together, we have like the dice head. Which is your favorite dice? Which again is a very bizarre question, which aesthetically do you like the shape of the most?
I really like the standard D20. I think it's just so pleasing to look at. So yeah. That or D10s. D10s are pretty nice too.
Again, you're saying this and I'm looking down at them on my desk and I'm like, that's a good dice. Go on.
Oh no, sorry. I've been playing Cult a lot recently. And we use D10s in that, and so that may be why I'm kind of D10 biased right now. My mind might change. It's a fickle thing.
I was gonna say because like where we were like re-roll when I have to re-roll the dice, and like going over it again. One of the questions I have asked is, "What's your favorite shape?" And I'm like, maybe I just put it in as like, "What's your favorite dice?" But hey, Krissy, what's your favorite shape?
Oh dear. Triangle.
Triangle's a solid choice.
What's
your favorite color?
Purple. Very specifically, either lavender or indigo. Kind of either of those.
I feel like I'm doing like a personality test. You're like, interesting, a lavender triangle. That means you are creative. And you're like, oh, good.
I'm just saying it goes with the purple tiefling thing that I'm obsessed with.
Yeah.
I feel like if tieflings were a shape, they'd be a triangle.
Put that on a mug. Or maybe your next t-shirt.
I will message Matt right now.
Hey Matt, I know we've done a band t-shirt, but what about tieflings are triangles? If you ever do get around to DMing, that's the name of the campaign. You're like, what does it mean? You're like, well, you'll know that by the end. And then you're like, oh, it's meaningless. But you did watch for 6 episodes. There's
no rhyme, or there's no meaning to my chaos. Like, I don't need it. I thrive in chaos, remember?
You do.
God, I miss Calliope. That could have been such a fun character. I really want to get back into the more sea-themed one.
Yeah, Calliope will return. I mean, again, the little TikTok universe we're creating, it's not nice. It's not a nice, like, I think I posted last night a video of Shiv, and it was like, yeah, Shiv is just assassinating people.
For Calliope's sake, it's fine. Gotta protect the daughter.
I love her with all my heart. And I'm like, hey, do I sink ships? No, but I make sure that they don't kill my daughter? Yes.
She starts sinking the ships. You just make sure that she gets her will. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Absolutely. And
I would really like a chance to play a villain at some point, and I think that she's in a villain phase right now.
Yeah. It's very simple. Just do not go into the sea. That is where she is. That is where, it's just as simple as that,
That's her domain now.
Yeah. Like the TikToks you've done, which is the Poseidon songs, where it's like, yeah, just don't mess with me and I won't have to mess with you.
Yeah.
Such a simple...
Could always just ask my permission for smooth seas. Like, that's a thing you could do. You could beg.
You could...
She would love for you to beg.
Yeah, that's just great. Like, you go to a seer and you're like, well, what's the advice? You're like, prostrate yourself. What? Just get down on your knees and beg.
That the ground hasn't been kissed thoroughly enough.
Yeah.
Like, go on.
Also, if you could bring her shiny things, she likes shiny things.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she sure does.
She does. Gestures to all the sea treasure.
I mean, now at this point, she does have like a dragon soul in her. So yeah, she has her hoard.
Oh, now I'm like, oh, the Warforged part of the Horde? You're like, what a question, what a question. Now go and bring me gifts.
Never. I respect you all too much. Now, I actually think she does. That's her family now. So yeah, I think she loves them in her own twisted way.
I think, it's just that sort of wonderful thing of like D&D, like found family. It's like, yeah, we're technically villains. Are we anti-heroes? No. We're kind of elemental. We're just, the sea doesn't care for you. No.
Nope.
So many plans. Right, I'm looking at the clock. We've got about 15 minutes, so that's probably a question, considering the speed we're going at. But come on, I know what I want. And it's what I've got. Number 5. How do you feel about cosplay?
Oh, well, I wish I were better at it, but I really like, I like cosplaying my own characters. I come up with a theme, and usually a lot of how my character looks goes by what cosplay pieces I can find for them. So I have a Circle of Stars druid that most of her like outfit came around because I already had like this fabric that had these stars and moons and like shifting color on it, and I'd had it since I was in high school, and it's been chilling. So I kind of used that as her, shawl or veil or whatever. And then I had an old prom dress. I'm pretty sure it was my friend's dress, and she gave it to me to wear to one of our band banquets, and that surprisingly still fit me. And so that and a wig and some jewelry and call it a day. But I would like to cosplay, characters that aren't in my own creation. I got a Molly Mock coat cosplay commissioned from Nausea Creations, and I'm hoping to eventually do that. What's stopping me right now is I don't currently have the body paint for that, and also the tattoos. That's going to be fun to try and figure out how to do. So I'm looking at the logistics for that, but I do eventually want to move on to characters that aren't my own. I think the only one that I've done that isn't like an OC is Nia from Dead by Daylight. Oh, yeah. So yeah, that was easy. Tucked my hair into a beanie because she kind of had it looks bluish to me, but I think it's just brown. But again,
just the wonder of like going I've got sort of things where I'm like, I couldn't cosplay that, and I was like, right, I'll buy a headband and an eye patch, and I go, and that's the costume.
Hey, that works, Yeah. I wish I could sew, but that's just like trying to learn. That would be a project that I would pick up and immediately drop. I'd put a lot of money into it, and then no time. That's the ADHD brain.
Get distracted, do a new thing. But
I think I've got a bunch of like crochet materials that I did learn how to crochet. I'm not terrible at it. I can make a solid scarf, right? But after I learned to do that, I was like, okay, on to the next. So I think paying people to make any more outfits that I want to do would probably be the better thing. Probably be cheaper in the long run.
I also like the fact that you're like, yeah, I want to be a purple tiefling, and you're like Molly. You're like, yeah.
He's a comfort character.
Yeah.
So yeah. I like a tattooed purple teeth. Which Folly's not purple. I didn't want to have to do body paint whenever I cosplay her. Doing the stencils for her tattoos is complicated enough. So yeah.
But then as soon as she becomes like an ice tiefling, it's like, you've got a weird purple color, and you're like, okay.
I could picture Alex doing that just to be funny. I could see that happening.
I suppose that's the thing, like, as soon as you're sort of like, oh, this is what I'm doing for, like, the cosplay, you're like, interesting, here's a new piece of set piece, like...
Here's a new thing that you're gonna have to do to be accurate. Yeah. he like asked me if I would like to get her tail back. I was like, nah, no.
I'm good.
No, I specifically made her without a tail because I didn't want to have to cosplay her with a tail. And they were like, all right, that's fine. They also came up with the idea that that's why Folly is clumsy, because I made her canonically clumsy. And they're like, oh, because she doesn't have a tail? And I'm like, yes, that's exactly why she's clumsy. It's not just because I'm clumsy. Yeah. I still haven't decided whether or not she has hooves or like regular feet. Still working on that.
That is the sort of thing, like having played tiefling characters, and I'm like, I'm not wearing boots, am I? I'm just stealth. I think because like Zelene, who was a paladin tiefling, who's green, so she was the Green Knight, and they were like, yeah, you're wearing plate armor, and also you got hooves. Stealth completely useless, and just clank clonk, clink clink, and just.
Yep. I like to think that if Folly does have hooves, her boots would be custom made.
Yeah.
Because she's very fashion conscious, and she wants to look good at all times.
Or is it a case of a hoof where you're like using nail polish? It's just one big sort of...
Yep.
I know a man who can do amazing things.
Hey, he's quite talented and quite gifted, you know?
It's quite sweet. Just, using the same thing you use for horses. Just gonna.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure farriers are popular in D&D games. There's livestock everywhere. I actually don't know what that tool's called. I guess it's just a file. It looks like a giant file.
I think, yeah. If we've got any farriers or any ostlers in the chat, just like I think you find it's called a pickman. And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but it sounds great.
Sounds fantastic. That works. I had a horse. I should know, but I don't.
What was the name of your horse?
His name was Simba. I did not name him. My dad bought him for me whenever I was 8. I took my first riding lessons on him, and at one point in time, I literally like fell over his head, and he just stopped and looked at me like, "Get you stupid?
Get up.
What's happening here? Get up, get back in the saddle. We got shit to do." But him stopping like that showed that he was, a pretty stable, calm horse. And so my dad was like, "That's a horse my daughter will be safe on." And so I rode for about 8 years.
Wow. Amazing. I rode as a child. Then the horse got spooked. The trainer tried to grab the horse, got her arm broken, and I got thrown over a fence. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so that was the thing. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, oh, no, we break things all the time. But I was like, oh, dear. Oh, dear me.
I got through it, like thrown a handful of times, but I don't think I ever broke anything. But I show jumped a little, but nothing large, and not with my own horse. I was actually on, I rode for a stable, and they had a thoroughbred called Tootie, and he would do this thing where he would crow hop and fart after every jump you took. And that's not why he got his name, I don't think, but it fit him real well. He was a little punk. And yeah. My horse was just like a little quarter horse Shetland pony mix. He was real short, real cute.
Oh, adorable. I think that was, again, like a thing where, talking about Zelene, where we were like, oh, yeah, no, I have Star Trail, who is canonically the most beautiful horse in all the realms, who, Zelene inadvertently left behind for 1,000 years. But as we were playing that game, okay, you look appalled. We got frozen, and then Star Trail is very grumpy about it, and then it's sort of like, I don't like you. Never leave me again. Also, Zelene thinks that if Star Trail's ever sent back to the Feywild, he will get rocks thrown at him, because that's what Star Trail said, and he rolled a 20. And so I was like, as far as I'm concerned, the Fey, having played like Fey characters, and then Zelene's like, it sounds like a terrible place that no one should ever go. But as we were playing it, they found information where they said war horses weren't like these colossal things that we imagined were about the size of like Shetland ponies, were like small, and so we were like, to start you off, so you just shrink down to this tiny little horse. Yeah.
Shetland ponies are sturdy as shit, so I believe it. And they're actually really fast. Those little legs can move.
But again, like we're saying about the ideas, like Folly is both not and is wearing boots until otherwise stated.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's inappropriate to look at a lady's legs, so just don't look down there.
I know my skirt shows off my knees and all, but you shouldn't be staring too closely. That's not a... Mm-mm.
I don't. Then you just like you look really intense. You're like, your mother would be very disappointed, and then just blood pours out their nose and like, fall it out.
I just love D&D. I love it so much. Yeah. I love the creativity and the imagination that can go into every character.
And again, just sort of that thing of just going, okay, great, new campaign. What do I want to play? What can I do? And then you're like, oh, like you make like a throwaway character. And you're like, no, I love them. They are my child.
Yeah. Whenever we were talking about, like, whenever I got invited to do Chaos, they're like, okay. And we were talking about what to play. And I was like, I haven't got to play Soleil in a while. I didn't get to finish her story. Yeah. Like, her first campaign ended after like 3 or 4 episodes. So I was real sad, and I was like, she's a great character. I want to bring her back. And she had been more fleshed out at that point, so she was even more fun to play. So. And
now Chaos, where just sort of like, by the way, your mother's panpipes are here, and you're like, oh, plot.
Oh, my mom's alive? What? Oh dear. Soleil had been convinced her mother was dead since she was like 12, so that was fun. That was a great thing Im did there.
It was just a campaign of maybe there's something up with your mom. Just
the mother's campaign. Yep. Poor Skitter. Oh, I want to see that get rectified. I want to see Skitter, because like Soleil was like, I don't want to tell her this. I don't want to bear this news. This isn't fun. I don't like this anymore.
And actually, as we come to a close, but this is the Into the Wasteland that's currently running. That flicker of the candle, the sibling. They don't know. They don't know something's happened. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, why didn't you come back to the material plane? Everyone is gone. Apart from Skitter, I think. But that's... Hey, if anyone on the wiki, just try and work out the number of siblings and then just go...
I like that name, though. Flicker. That's... Skitter and Flicker, cute names, yeah.
I could imagine, like, if you were trying to be cute with your kids, you're like, this is Flicker, this is Skitter. And this is Becca. Ooh, they're rambunctious.
That's my Pickering.
Mother, please stop mocking me with your hands. Like, well, if you stop being such a little scamp. Mother, please. So yes.
Mommy.
Mother. Mama, you mock me. And on that note, 2 minutes, I can do this. So, thank you everyone for joining us and being part of the show. Big thank you to Krissy. I was just do a little wave. Yeah. So, if you've enjoyed us, we stream every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. BST, and we stream D&D games on Mondays and Tuesdays. On Mondays from 6 to 9 p.m, we're doing Into the Wasteland. Let's see if Flicker ever finds out what happened to their family. And on Tuesdays, we're currently streaming a Vicus? Oh, God, because I keep wanting to say vicious. It's not, it's a... Oh, God, this is my own campaign. A viscous cycle. I like the fact that there was 2 options, and I was like, Vicus. Like, Vicus. What is that? Anyway, our shows do stream at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg, and there's a YouTube link that's now in chat. Thank you to our mods. Please do remember that we can be enjoyed as a podcast, although you'll miss out on all the fun facial stuff. So big thanks to our D20 Club on Patreon, all the sponsors and supporters, and I cannot put this any stronger, I beg you, please, stay classy at the table.